All right, Vortex Nation, we're going to dive into a little rabbit trail here. A little rabbit trail action. Last time we did, we were munching on some squirrel wings of the buffalo variety. And squirrels don't have wings.
They weren't flying squirrels.
No,
so.
Unfortunately. Or maybe fortunately.
I think
Can you shoot those?
I think they're kind of protected, generally.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Fact check that.
Fact check.
Comment below. Fact check it.
It's been a minute since we've had Mark on, although you did one when you were up in Alaska,
yep.
podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been a while since you and I have been on the same podcast.
I know.
Or at least recording. And since then, you've got a pretty gnarly beard going.
Yeah.
I don't know if gnarly is the right word, but it's just a beard. You got one going.
Yeah, kind of been gone, kind of remote for the last few weeks. Going to be remote again. Just kind of decided to go feral.
Just going feral on us. So, Mark, usually we kick this off with a little bit of a preposterous question. This is one I think I've pitched to you a couple of times.
Okay.
But generally speaking, the consensus amongst hunters out there is that bigger deer are better. Right. Now, if you agree with it, I'm not saying you think that by any means, Mark.
Right.
Right, but the general consensus out there, everybody goes for the big deer, right?
I would say in general, yeah, if given the choice between A or B, bigger's
right.
better. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. In the fishing community, it seems as though the smallmouth bass is the preferred catch over the largemouth bass. Am I correct or am I incorrect?
I think it could be highly debated.
Highly debated? So debate with me here, because I don't know anything about it. All I know is that one time when I was a kid, I caught a largemouth bass, and I thought it was better to me because I said, it's a largemouth.
Well, and I guess I'd say by and large, largemouth bass, on average, now I'm not a biologist, but I'd say they tend to get bigger. Like different places you'll hear of, a 10-pound largemouth. I'm not sure I've ever heard of a 10-pound smallmouth. They get some big ones. We get some big ones in Wisconsin here. I haven't found them, but we get some like 5-6 pounders. Like Lake Michigan is actually a really good lake for big smallies. Hopefully, I'm not giving up somebody's secret hot spot.
It's kind of a big lake.
It's a big one, and then we got some. We got some great smallie lakes in the state.
Okay, see now you're already gravitating towards the smallies, which they even have their own name. Does anybody say going after pounding largies? Smallies, there's something about the smallmouth bass that I feel like has more of an allure to it. And
I feel like...
Do they taste better? I thought I've heard that they taste better. Largies aren't that, if that's even a term, aren't that good.
I think, yeah, I mean, I've eaten both.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Probably, sacrilege to some folks, but yeah, I've taken down a few smallies and a few largies in my day.
It's sacrilege just in general to eat bass or to eat largemouth bass, or
I'd say both.
Both?
I'd say both at times. Yeah.
In circles. What did you think of them when you ate them?
Delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Smallies, maybe not always, or maybe you generally find them a little bit colder, clearer water. I think, again, dude, I'm not like a pro bass fisherman. There's a few guys I could think of that would actually be really money to have in on this conversation. So hopefully I'm not speaking too out of turn. And if they've got some better ideas, they can comment below too. But I feel like the largemouth versus smallmouth conversation of which is the better bass, which I've got my feelings on that.
Well, okay, all right.
However, it's almost akin to like the whitetail versus mule deer. I love them both dearly, but I feel like the smallie is...
Which one would you...
Possibly like the classier of the bass.
So it's like the mule deer?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Whereas the whitetail is like the largemouth of deer.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay, so... Oh. What do we have here?
Hello. Oh.
Mark, it looks like we have a couple of guests here.
Surprise, everybody.
Mark.
Or maybe just surprise to me.
Well, here, gentlemen, why don't you get Mr. Jamison here? Well, we have, what do we have here?
I thought we seemed a little bit light.
Well, we did, yeah. We had these mics out. Why don't, do we have, what is this? What's this for?
Is this about, this is about the thing. Mark?
What the hell?
Mark?
It's been too long. Okay.
Oh, my gosh.
For years, you've been telling us you were going to change. For years, you were telling us you were going to
Here we go. Yeah, we got to get.
You were going to do something to better your life, and you chose not to. And so
We've been concerned.
This is an IntARvention.
This is an IntARvention.
You guys.
Mark, now you have. So for those not
gosh.
watching right now, Ryan Muckenhirn, Reuben Aleckson, Erik Barber, and Jamison Schleicher have just entered the room with us. And Mark, yeah, we've been concerned.
Deeply.
And
It's an AR-15.
Oh,
Actually, Mark,
Mark,
it's not just any old AR-15.
At
This
this-
here is a large frame AR-10. And Mark,
You're going to want to look on the barrel.
you're gonna want to check
By the muzzle.
Check this one out. There's something different about this one.
The top side.
I generally try not to stare down these
Well,
things.
no, that's a good idea. He's
No.
looking at it.
It's not possible.
Mark, it's possible, and it's
You're
there.
joking me.
It's there right in front of you.
Oh my gosh, everybody! It's the perfect AR. I don't know. It's not even AR fit. It's the perfect.
modern
Thank
weaponry.
you. I try not to be a recipient of charity, but I feel as you get this is for my own good.
This is-
guys, and maybe I didn't even say it, this is a 300 WSM.
Yep,
Says right on it.
that's right. This right here, Mark. This is an AR for someone as complicated and weird as you. This AR is chambered in none other.
That doesn't even begin to explain the inner workings of what we got going on over here.
None other than the apparently venerable 300
Oh
Wisdom.
my goodness.
Winchester,
venerable.
Winchester Shire short mag.
I mean, it's fairly lightweight. It does, but it's so it should buck like a son of a bitch, like I'm used to. So that's
Yep,
nice.
Yep. And to give you a little bit of an idea of what was going on here, we've had numerous inquiry. I don't know if it's inquiry or a suggestion. We have numerous suggestions pouring in on Instagram and other platforms of people saying it's about dang time Mark gets a freaking AR. And so we huddled up and we thought, should we get him an AR-15? Should we, maybe he won't ever use it. He'll try and sell it again like he did with his last AR-15 that he had. So we thought,
Say he's going to
I
replace
needed the
it.
money, Jim.
so we thought,
That was a tough time.
so we thought to ourselves, if we get him an AR and it's somehow chambered in this cartridge, then maybe he'll keep it and he'll actually shoot it. So we scoured the web, and I managed to track down our friends over at KAK Industries. They actually make a Magnum
Oh my gosh.
a Magnum upper that in this case is 300 WSM, and it was called the Hunter Profile. So figured naturally Mark would love that,
I could make that work.
and it fits with a DPMS pattern. The AR-10 is kind of an interesting beast in that there is no spec just yet. There's no AR-15 mil spec where you can just kind of get any AR-15 mil spec upper. It goes on any AR-15 mil spec lower. They're all the same, interchangeable. We had to find the DPMS pattern specifically because there's a couple other ones. I think maybe Arrow even has their own. Or I'm speaking out of turn there because I'm not even as familiar with these as I should be. But Mark, dang it, now you're going to be familiar with
Oh
it.
my gosh. The
life is
Lord's
changing.
hammer.
The Lord's hammer right
That
there.
is her name.
Wow.
Or his.
Dude, I can't thank you guys enough. I can't wait to shoot this thing. We're going to do some work with it.
If there's ever been a gun for the 21st century Midwestern whitetail hunter, think of what it's got going on. It's got a flash hider.
Yeah.
It's semi-automatic. It's 300 Winchester short
A
magnum.
Magnum cartridge
Correct.
where you don't need it.
Yep.
Correct?
Yep.
Yep.
Exactly.
It is the 21st.
You don't have to tube feed it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the 21st century BAR.
That it is. That's a good point. And we left a few things for you to do. Maybe
Okay.
if you kind of get a little bit of that piss and vinegar in your soul and you want to start changing some things around, you can change things like the grip or the charging handle or the stock. It's your standard kind of A2 style stuff there. But actually, this charging handle is pretty nice. It's got a long latch on it. It's just
Yeah.
So what Jimmy's
You're
saying
right-handed,
is it'll
so-
be like that forever.
it's never gonna change.
I can modify it because I've got all.
He's got a bag of parts.
I got a
It's got a bag of parts, and who knows what those parts do? They could be AR-15 parts, AR-10
Hey,
parts.
it doesn't need a gas tube.
True.
Yep.
It's got one.
That's true. It doesn't need little weird things like a trigger spring or whatever
I
else.
think I'm
you were-
missing a couple of pins.
So that's that. But and to make it run well, apparently they have some sort of a fancy Magnum bolt carrier or bolt or something like that with an uprated ejector spring or claw or something, and a little bit heavier buffer than normal. So it'll soak up some of that shoulder pounding Magnum action.
Well, this is actually perfect timing as well because I'm sans my 300 short meg because it's still missing an action from shipping it to my Alaska hunt, which was I was packed like a month ahead of time, shipped my stuff 2 weeks ahead of time, still haven't seen it. Luckily, I had a backup for my backups, so we made do. We lived through it.
Did you Did you tell the TSA or anybody?
Well, no, I shipped it regular.
Oh, he shipped it regular, so
Yeah.
it wasn't on the plane.
So
okay.
theoretically, the United States Postal Service is in possession of, by and large, most every piece of outdoor equipment I own right now, including the old 300 WSM. So this will.
Now you got to know.
We wouldn't know anything about that.
I think that's in my Pelican case.
Yeah, I might.
Oh my god.
No, but the United States Postal Service might know. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Jimmy, Christmas.
You're gonna
You
want
know
to call them.
You know what I couldn't help but think was interesting.
Ryan, you know that my problems are always your problems.
Wow. Mark, you got an AR now.
Oh
You know-
my god.
Is this
what
your
I-
first AR?
No.
He had another
owned
one
one
and he
before.
sold it.
Oh,
Now
so
what
he's-
am I
it was
trying to-
complete,
contribute
though.
to the podcast.
I know, right? Reuben, I'm sorry.
I'm
You
gonna have to
kinda-
get some actual content.
So your other AR was complete. You had an
Oh, I fired it. Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you
Tom
got,
Leatherberry can even
and
attest
you
to
got
it.
rid of it. And you're trying to play this whole guilt trip on me, like some super rough time that you had to sell your AR.
Did you
What
trade
is
it
it?
for a Glock?
No, I sold it with the intention that it wasn't like my number one favorite, and so with the intention of, buying or building another, and I was slowly procuring parts, and then
Emphasis on slowly.
at some point I just,
Oh, I sat
I
behind
never
him.
gave up. But
Sorry.
Here we are.
I feel like this is going to be just the beginning.
Just the beginning.
I'm
Maybe.
excited for you to thump a whitetail with that.
I think we're going to
I can't wait to see him
Season is
hunt
fast
with it. I
approaching.
can't wait to see how far we can shoot this thing, how accurate it is.
How
I mean,
fast we can shoot it.
Yeah,
I want to know what.
exactly.
I want to know what the first thing you get with it is going to be.
Oh yeah. Are you gonna? Or do we need to put a scope on it so you can take it out to Idaho? We got time.
I don't see why we shouldn't.
I don't see why not either, Mark.
That's the only logical choice.
I think we're gonna have to do that. We'll peg some time before you and Rick leave.
What did you think?
We
This
got some work to do. I
What
think
kind of
we have
optic? What kind of
a
optic?
day.
What optic are you gonna put on this thing?
Boy, we have a lot of great choices.
Now I
Jim.
know that there's some secret potential down the line optics you're thinking about, but what out of the current lineup would you put on a
Man,
fine firearm like this?
boy, the options are limitless. LH 3 to 15, PST Gen 2 3 to 15.
Oh,
I think those are probably where that's
I-
where I'd put my money.
I'd agree.
Yeah.
I think those are good.
Some versatility. We might encounter shots from 30 yards to 600 yards.
That's true. One thing that I found pretty interesting about this whole excursion or whatever you would call it, fiasco, something. So we have Jamison here, who we've gotten into shooting and hunting via starting to work at Vortex, and he's been working. How long have you been here, Jamison?
Just under 2 years.
Just under 2 years. And in
God,
that
seems
amount
like
of
longer than
in that amount of time, Jamison has procured himself an AR-15. Do you just have one, or do you even
Just
have,
one right now.
Okay, just right now.
Right now.
He's got a Glock 34 MOS, and he's also gotten himself a what the heck?
Remington 870.
And
Remington
what is her name?
870.
Old Rosie.
Old
Rosie.
Rosie.
Mhm.
Okay, we've also seen one of our fellow coworkers who used to be didn't possess any firearms, primarily into bird watching only.
Yeah.
We've also seen him now become a precision rifle shooting phenom. And how many guns does that guy have now?
He's stacking them up. He's looking at other
He
stuff.
got his sixth
He got-
in a year.
Yeah,
Wow.
in a year. He's
God
even
bless
shooting
him.
pistols now. He got a Glock I saw last. And And Mark is you've been working here for 10 years and it's taken us this long.
For 5 of those years, I did own an AR. And let's not paint the picture that I don't own any firearms.
Oh,
okay.
Right.
I mean, he has like
3, 4.
yeah.
Yeah.
Beware the man with one gun.
All right.
I just say that because it's like my excuse for having one gun.
See, Mark, the other nice thing too is
I've got multiple guns.
Don't worry, I'll find plenty to make fun of you for.
See, Mark, you're always
Not
talking
anymore.
about door kicking. Here's a door kicker for you. This would be a tremendous door kicker. In fact,
God, can I 3-gun with this?
here's heavy division.
Yeah.
The best part about this is, let's say you kick a door and you go into a room with this particular firearm. If you see, a bad guy, can we say that on a pod? Yeah.
Yeah.
If you see bad guy across the room from you, boom. Okay, let's say he's got 2 buddies and they're on the side of the room. They're planning to flank you. Well, kaboom. Bad guy number 1 goes down in the center of the room. You've already taken out the other 2 guys just with pure concussion.
Yep.
From this.
It's a flashbang.
And yourself.
I mean, they're going to be dealing with a heck of a time. I mean, talk about tinnitus.
They're going to give up.
So you got that going for you. And then also, when you're on the other side of the spectrum and you're the person in the room, let's say some home defense, this is going to be a much better candidate than your bolt action.
Oh, yeah. Walls, not a problem.
Yeah, concrete. Okay. See you on the other
Just
side.
make sure.
It's like the ShamWow cartridges. They'll do anything.
Mark, what are you going to name it?
Oh, my gosh. Don't put me on the spot. Well, I thought we already named it, actually.
How's this happening? Mark, I'm getting a call from you right now. I felt my phone buzz and I thought, who could this be?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm getting my call. You have me in your phone as James. Anyway, so Mark, really, with this 300
respect.
with this 300 AR-10, now we hope that you've completed the loop. You have a hunting rifle, you've got a self-defense rifle, a door kicking rifle, a 3-gun rifle, a PRS gun. I don't
All in one.
or some sort of long-range competition gun, all in one. And gosh darn it, if it doesn't shoot that. That's
And I bet Ryan will find a way to turn it into a muzzleloader.
Yeah. Actually, there is a way.
that there is.
Come
that
on.
there is. Well, cool. So
I like how you baited me into this thing. With you baited me in with a fishing topic.
Yep.
That was intentional.
Fitting.
That was.
We were talking about baiting earlier.
We were talking about how good are you at baiting a hook, Rube?
Pretty
Would
good.
you consider yourself master level?
For sure, pro.
But yeah, we were talking about smallies versus largies when it comes to bass. And
Should we take just a quick round table?
okay,
Pick
yeah,
your poison?
This will be last calls. All right.
'Kay.
So we'll go around everybody and we'll say what you prefer. Smallmouth or largemouth, which you think is a superior fish? And just out pure curiosity. Mark will end on you. Jameson will start with you.
My fish knowledge is rather limited.
That's all right, because we're
Beta.
basically
Yeah, I'm gonna go with largemouth because that's what I have fished in at my cabin. So I'm gonna go with that.
Okay. I also, it's like we're going from increasing knowledge about bass here. So I've also fished bass, but I caught a largemouth when I was young, and we measured it at 18 inches, which to me as a kid, I might as well have caught Moby Dick. And so I will say largemouth for that reason. I have not fished smallies before, but from everything I've heard, I'd be interested in it.
I would say smallies pound for pound, especially if they're living in a creek or river where they got a lot of structure that they can intertwine themselves in, is the most tenacious freshwater fish in the upper Midwest.
So you prefer smallies in that case for sport?
Yep.
For the sheer enjoyment of catching them.
It's
Yep.
like they're like bulldogs.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Rube?
Yeah, I'll echo what Big Rick said. Pound for pound, like I've caught, my personal best is just over 7 pound smallmouth and just over 7 3/4 pound for a largemouth, and the smallmouth fought twice as long and twice as hard, especially in a river system. So
All right.
that for me is kind of an easy one.
Nobody's mentioned eating yet.
If you're gonna eat So largemouth for me eat better.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I think if you know what you're doing to prep them and keep them. So first thing you do, throw them in a cooler of ice. I mean, it doesn't really matter what kind of fish you're gonna eat, but
Yeah, probably bleed,
pull the gills and
bleed
throw
them
them in
on,
the
bleed
ice.
them, get them on ice.
Yeah,
All right.
largemouth are as good as anything.
Excellent. Mr. Muckenhirn?
I'm going same thing Reuben said. If you're fighting fish, if you're going to pick a fight with a fish, it's going to be a smallie. It's fun. I grew up walleye fishing because I'm from Minnesota, and so they worship walleyes up there like golden idols.
Walter.
And I much prefer to hook into a smallmouth while fishing a bottom bouncer in a crawler harness. It was just a better fish all the way around. But if I was going to eat a fish of the bass variety, it would be probably a 10 to 12 inch largemouth caught from the dock, breaded lightly on a sandwich.
There it is.
Yeah.
Mark, you didn't even have to
Shiver
go after
me
that.
timbers.
But I will.
Here's the, you said earlier when we were discussing this briefly, you said you had your opinions on it. So I now's your chance to let those.
So I think of the two, the smallmouth is the classier of the bass.
Oh, right. These
Like-
people didn't hear you say that.
So so we brought
Explain
up kind
to
of the
them.
whitetail versus mule deer.
Yeah.
And my thoughts on that parallel very tightly because I actually, it's like picking your favorite kid.
Yep.
Anyway, I think fishing for largemouth is actually more fun
Action-filled.
than fishing for smallmouth. That said, pound for pound, you're not going to be a smallmouth is like it's like catching a Chad Mendez. I mean, literally, like pound for pound.
Chad Mendes in there.
There's a hell of a lot of fight in that thing. I know because Chad picked me up one time. It scared me greatly.
Great
Through 'em.
video. You can find it on Instagram. Scroll back.
So I guess those are my thoughts on eating. I've eaten both. Prefer the smallie.
Fascinating.
Cold water smallie.
Good stuff.
Maybe it's I've never eaten a big largie, only kind of like that.
Sandwich size.
Yeah, sandwich size. That was a grandpa special, man.
Well, then
So
you
there's
have
some
a little
nostalgia
sentimental-
going
yeah,
on.
a
Well,
little
yeah.
bit.
I mean, it was.
I have nothing against people that eat smallmouth. I've eaten them and they're great. And I think for me, like it's kind of like a northern versus muskie thing. Like I've never cleaned and eaten a muskie, but northern's some of the best. Northern pike is some of the best fish out there. So I don't know. Maybe I just respect the smallmouth too much.
That's fair,
It's the
man.
trout of bass.
They are good though.
It is
Nothing
the trout
against
of bass.
Oh
it's
my
the
gosh.
trout of bass.
I used to catch them in the Snake River when I was in college and poor. So
We've got
they went in the bucket.
trout of the river bass or whitetail of the water.
Yeah, I was curious
River
to see
dance.
how that would have
Chicken
played
of
out.
the sea. Yeah. So
It's
Chicken of the air.
fish of the air brand bass.
There you go.
Yes.
On that note, I got nothing else. Mark's got an AR now. There you have it, everybody. All those requests now it exists. We'll take some pictures of it too, so we can post it up on Instagram so you guys can get a look too. Thanks everybody, as always, for listening. What are we gonna do on the podcast now?
I got some ideas.
Okay, more ideas for giving Mark crap in the future. The podcast is not ending; it is only just beginning. Thanks, everybody.
The
Thanks to you guys.
IntARvention
Thanks,
is
everybody.
complete.
Exactly. The IntARvention is complete. Okay, bye guys.
See ya.
Bye. I can't believe.
Marco.
Look at that. Eric, you kept a hell of a straight face when I was like, "Oh, hey, are you in on this deal?"
Yeah, he was like,
you didn't
"Oh,
give
yeah,
it
I'm
away
in on
at
this
all.
one."
I was like,
Oh, wait,
no,
no,
I'm
never
not.
mind.
No.
What did you?
Yep.
Is there a button hilarious. What's that?
Is there a button in there? You push the button?
No, I was just kind of like grabbing it to flip it up a little bit.
It smells so good.
It does. I put a little frog loop in there. Yeah, that's what.
I was wondering.
Hey, let me see that.
Vaseline.
It's minty fresh. See that bowl. That is pretty.
I would suggest not removing this takedown pin because I had to hammer it in. I mean, little detail.
Stout. She is pretty stout.
Cool, Mark.
Put some 165 GMXs in there and stock some whitetails.
Mark, guys, we should make some range time tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right.
I'll bring some
There it
ammo
is.
in.
Looking forward to this.
Awesome.
I should have most of it. Guess where it is?
In the Pelican.
It's in a suitcase.
All right, that'll wrap it up for this episode of the Vortex Nation podcast. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Hit that subscribe button so you can always stay up to date on the latest happenings over here at the Vortex Nation podcast. You can also follow us on Instagram at Vortex Nation Podcast. Again, everybody, thanks, and happy hunting and shooting. We appreciate it. Have a good one.